welcome to my No Frills podcast. My name is Mel Brown. I'm an autistic woman living in the north of England, and my podcast is about knitting, crocheting, spinning, weaving, dyeing, buying yarn, basically. So no editing, so it's just a one-shot deal. You get what you get. So lots and lots of projects to update you on, and some new purchases. So let's get straight into it. The first project to update you on is the Scrappy V. Now I'll link down below who the author of designer is of these patterns, because I often don't remember. Here it is. So it's quite a lot bigger than when you last saw it. We were down here when you last saw it. Now what this is a top, a sort of t-shirt, and it's got, oh, you can already see the way this is working. There's a V at the front. So this is the front, that's the back, and you do short rows to make the V-neck, and that's what's happening here. And what you're meant to use it for is scrap yarn, so leftover bits of yarn or minis from an advent calendar. Oh, it's warm in here. Something like that. And so I'm just using leftover sock yarn. So yeah, the back you can see is quite a lot more knitting there. Yeah, I'm loving the way the colours are going. What's that? It looks like a very loose stitch. What's that about? Oh, okay. That's an end that I need to pull a little bit. That's a bit better. So I'm running the ends in as I go, tucking them around the working yarn for 10 stitches. And then what I do is I tend to leave them just hanging like that inside. And then at some point I come back, look at how it looks in the last stitch that they were in. Just pull it tight so that it looks how I want to, and then I'll trim them off fairly short, not all the way, but fairly short, and then they won't come poking through. So that's what I've got. I've got a lot of markers in there. Oh, look there. Do you know what? I remember? I wondered if I'd remember, didn't I? That marker is there to show where I was when I last spoke to you. So I've knitted all that since then. So I switched to a Claire Nettleship yarn here that was dark like this, but it had these patches. For the next one I'm back to this yarn, which is this. I'm not going to let it go green because I'm carrying on in the blue theme. So yeah, I hadn't actually noticed how much like a V-neck that is looking until I hold it like that. So that's looking great. Really, really pleased with that. It's really good fun, and I'm just enjoying playing with the colours, as I always do. So that is the Scrappy V. I'm going to try and put things in a different place when I talk to you about them, because I've got so much to tell you about. I don't want to forget anything. So that's been very gently dropped on the floor. Okay, the next project is Makariri. So this is where I'm up to now. The marker should be here because that's where I was when I spoke to you, but I'm actually using the marker to show me where I'm on the right side. So I'm kind of moving it up, but it was down here. So I finished the first section of lace. I've done this very long and rather boring section of garter stitch, and I'm now, we're meant to go back to striping like this, but no, I'm bored of the teal and grey. I'm going to bring in the purple. So the yarns are the teal and the grey that you have already seen are Ducky Darlings. Struggling to find the piece of paper I want in here. Ducky Darlings, and then I've got a Felt Fusion purple. They're all yak base, and I'm going to bring that purple in very shortly. So next time you see it, it will have some purple and grey stripes in it too. So it's an asymmetric. It's nice. I do love the stretch of and the drape of garter stitch. Yeah, it's just a little tedious really, but I'm doing it with one of my friends, Sarah, and she's kind of buoying each other on. When she gets to a bit where she's like, oh, and I say, oh, it's fine, you know, just you know, and then the other way around. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. Okay, the third project, I've got quite a lot of progress on that. That's Voyage Socks, and I have decided that at the moment for me 5 knitting and crochet projects is actually the right number. It's allowing me to work on them all every week and make a decent amount of progress on them, and I've got a lot of variety. So I actually currently have 4, and I have another one that I want to cast on any day, but I am starting a new project on the 1st of April with a friend, Andrea. And so I need to have something finished by then. So I've chosen the Voyage Socks because they're the most likely candidate. So here's the first one. I think it was right down here when I saw you last. I had started off with these 3 yarns. So the purple is Madeleine Tosh, this is a felt fusion, and this is a noodle soup. But I did the first pattern repeat and there wasn't enough contrast with that felt fusion. So I introduced instead a pink yarn that I dyed myself. And as you can see, the contrast is a lot better. So yeah, and then there's the pink yarn on the toe, and I've got the noodle soup sparkle. I love the fact that there's the sparkle runs through it. It's not everywhere, it doesn't have to be, it just kind of... So I don't know how I feel about slip stitch pattern on the sole. I think I'll only find that out when I wear them. Now I'm autistic, and autistic people are prone to sensory sensitivities. So I can't wear crochet socks because I can feel the pattern underneath my foot. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to wear these, but I'm going to give them a go. And if not, somebody's going to get a gift. So I'm really, really pleased with that. I'm really enjoying the pattern. And for me, I love the look of colour work, but I don't like doing colour work. So this is a perfect, I wouldn't say compromise, because it's not really a compromise. It's another alternative. It's colour work, but without the stranded element. So yeah, absolutely good. I love this little feature here where you get the waves at the end. I did make a slight modification because you kind of get to the end of a pattern repeat, and it was just a little bit longer than it needed to be. It wasn't quite 2 inches, which is what you meant to leave. So I knew I needed to make this toe a little shorter, so you meant to have all 3 colours repeated in there. But I didn't do that, I only did 2. And then I got to here and I thought, oh no, it's long enough. So I kitchened it early. So there's a couple of mods. I've written them down so that I can make sure I do the other one the same. But I've got quite a square toe anyway, so really, really happy with that. Now I had already started the second one because I was trying to do them both at once at the beginning. Realised it wasn't going to work. But I'm now through 2 pattern repeats and I'm on to the 3rd. So today I want to get that 3rd pattern repeat done and then start on the heel. So the heel flap, you carry on the pattern for the heel flap. So I want to get started on that today. Then I'll get these finished by the 1st of April and then I can start that new project. So yeah, really enjoying that. Okay, so there is another new project, but I have to show you that at the end because I have to get one of my friends to switch off, and I have another project that I've started and finished. Likewise, I have to show you that at the end. So, oh yeah, I've got a finished object. I guess you probably know it's the Skews, right? The sock blockers are nowhere near big enough. So I just put them on here really to just get them dry and to show you them. The way it's so pretty, isn't it? It's so, yeah, I love Skew. If you've watched for any length of time, you'll know I love Skew pattern. It's a Lana Holden pattern. It's just beautiful. And this is Comfort, something like the yarn. Don't have it here. It's a commercial yarn, love it. So these are going onto my feet straight away. Love them. So spinning. I spun some of that sari silk, and I told you I was very excited about getting going on it that somebody had given me. Well, here's my first yarn from it, and I've hit a bit of a snag. Maybe somebody out there knows how I can deal with it. Here it is. It's beautiful. It's not smooth. I don't aspire to smooth yarn. Oh, is that one piece or two? That's one piece. It's got, as you can see, lumps and bumps and bits of all kinds of stuff in it. This is not the fibre to try for a smooth yarn, basically. It's lovely. It's absolutely beautiful. The problem is, rinsing it, it didn't rinse clear. I rinsed it again and again and again and again and again, and you really don't want to handle something as delicate as silk as often as that. But I just couldn't get the colour to all come out. And if you can't get the colour to all come out, then what happens when you've made it into something and that thing gets washed? Is it going to bleed colour over the other? Look how bad my skeining is, and it's been really messed about with in the wash. I don't know what to do about it. There's things I want to make with this kind of yarn, but if they can't be washed at all, things like wall hangings or whatever, that's a bit of a limitation for the yarn. I've got an awful lot of fibre to make it all into things that aren't going to be washed. So I'm a bit stuck with that, so I haven't actually spun any more of it. If you have any experience of silk, it's not raw silk, it's recycled sari silk, then do let me know, but it's beautiful. So I did some more spinning. I started the, you know, I'd made some yarn for a tilted tunic with a lovely braid from, oh, there's my 2 little samples there and the little yarn, I have to reclaim that. That's from Cat and Sparrow. So I decided I was just going to dive into my stash and find anything that was merino or corriedale and start spinning it into a 2-ply that comes out a roughly DK. I found this gorgeous thing from the Wheel U. It's lovely, it's corriedale. What a lovely colour. So I've started spinning that quite fine, just a kind of traditional spin really. Been doing a bit of art yarn and, you know, sari silk and stuff recently, so it's nice to do it as a kind of plain, easy, simple, traditional spin with fibre that behaves just as you expect it to. That's not the be all and end all of spinning for me, but it's certainly nice to just have a little change. So been getting on with that. New things. I have got, look at these. I've got 2 of these. The project I want to start with Andrea on the 1st of April, it's called the Lilla Bjorn something or other. I think it's called a sweater or something, but it's not a sweater, it finishes here. It's not a sweater at all. But I've got 2 of these, and what I figured was I'm going to do the front starting from the inside and the back starting from the outside. And it's just kind of hexagon, I guess, coming outwards. So the slow change of this is going to be wonderful. And it's the same on the back, and then you just kind of sew them together. So I'm really excited about using these. These are Shapeless Whirls. I don't know if you've come across them. I've got them from Yarn Etc. in Harrogate, which is my local yarn shop. And yeah, they're acrylic and cotton. Let's have a look at what the this one's called Jumping Jelly. 60% cotton, 40% acrylic. I've worked with them before and they're just lovely. Also from Yarn Etc. I got these. Have I shown you these? Oh man, I'm sorry if I have. I think I maybe have. Yeah, I have. These are the little mohair extras I've got for the sand art sweater. So that's the freeform sweater. Me and the original sand art designer and my friend Kathy are all going to start a kind of 3-way knit along to make a freeform sweater. It's completely, yeah, no idea how it's going to go. I'm going to start that any day now, but I'm just kind of trying to roll on with my existing projects. So those are the 2 new things that I want to start. And I've been very busy at Yarn Etc. recently. It's I buy a lot of really fancy, pretty indie dyed yarns and all this kind of stuff. But sometimes I want to do a project and think, oh, I need a solid colour for that, and I've never got a solid colour of sock weight yarn in my stash. So I decided to rectify that. I bought a whole bag. So it's Grundle Hot Socks, which is obviously a commercial brand, and it's fairly cheap. And they have a second one, which is that which has cashmere in it. This is so soft, and a 50-gram ball is only £4. £4.50. So it's £9 for 100 grams of this, and it's really soft. They're really. I was just checking to make sure that she hasn't applied any discounts on there for me, which she shouldn't, obviously. But sometimes she's very generous and does. So they're absolutely lovely, really lovely. So I've got 200 grams of the grey, 200 grams of the black, and 200 grams of the cream, just as kind of neutrals, because you know I don't do neutral very well, right? And then 3 colours, 100 grams each of these 3 colours. Now I should have been more careful, so you can't go into yarn shops in the UK at the moment. In the US I know a lot of yarn shops are open. In the UK all the yarn shops are closed, so you have to kind of decide online what you're going to get, and I didn't decide quite as well as I could do, because these 2 are the cashmere one and this one isn't. It doesn't bother me hugely, but I wasn't planning on using them all together in one project anyway, but it's just basically stash acquisition, which I had said I wasn't going to do, right? Oops. Well, I've done it. So, that is all the updates that you need to see. Now I need at this point Kathy and Andrea to go away. Bye. Great, okay. So I made something for Kathy. She lives in the US, we've never met, we just know each other online. And I'm sending her a load of stuff, we're doing a swap. And I thought I'd just make her something quickly. So do you remember the yarn that I had for that top? I was talking about it in the video before last. I was making a jumper with it. It was something I blended acrylic and wool together, and I just didn't want to make any more of it, so I abandoned the project. Well, I decided to use the yarn for something else. And here, oh, is that the jog up the side? That's pretty untidy, isn't it? Great, let's look at the other side, shall we? It doesn't actually sit as well. I've already got one that I made a few years ago, and it sits a lot better, so I think I must have done this bit at the bottom a bit wrong. But I'm sure once it's got something in it, it'll sit quite happily. So it's got a flat bottom and these handles, and it's just a little basket to put stuff in. You know, you could put a ball of yarn in, then it comes out the side and have it as a yarn ball, whatever, I don't know. It's just a cute little basket. So I've made that for Kathy, so that's going to New England very soon. And then I have a new project for Andrea. Now this is, have you heard of helical or helical socks? Or helical knitting. So it's used sometimes when you've got two skeins of yarn but they're indie dyed and they may not be exactly the same, and you don't want to just have a sudden difference when you get from one to the other, so you work them both at the same time. But in order to not have loads of ends to run in and a jog, you do something called helical knitting, where you run them both at once. So this is what I've got here. This is just some leftover, this is opal sock yarn, and then this is a beautiful yarn from one of my favourite yarn dyers, which is Easy Knits. There we go, Deeply Wicked. And it's just lovely colours. So you get the two, you don't get any jogs, you just got the two colours alternating. And then I decided to put a cream heel in, and then above the heel I've got three colours alternating. Show you there the difference between the 2 and the 3. So we've got the cream, the Easy Knits coloured, and the navy opal. So it's a really interesting look, isn't it? So the other sock, my plan is to do a cream toe, cream and the Easy Knits on the foot, a navy heel, and then all three above again. So if you only see this bit, they'll look like a pair of socks. But as soon as you see anything else, you'll realise that they're fraternal pair, I don't know. Anyway, I'm really enjoying the technique. I've got 3 balls running at once, so you know it can get a bit of a mess, but that's okay. Got this in my lovely little Gemma B Makes bag with the deer in the autumn. Okay, so that's pretty much everything. This is quite a long video. I hope you're well. Let me know if you have any comments on any of these things. Hopefully I've included the information you need below. And happy crafting.